Hey guys, Grumpy here with another episode of Fast 5. So in the previous episode, we fought a couple of pirates. We also made some upgrades to the fleet. We upgraded the Shrike to an Apogee. That was the biggest change in the fleet so far. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the episode. Alright, so currently Summer Olympus is level 5. That's where we left off on the previous episode. And we have the same perks, majority blue line. So we have navigation, sensors, gunnery implants, and then flux regulation, as well as crew training. I don't think I explained why I picked the perks that I did so far at this point. Navigation and sensors just increases our fleet burn speed, which is really nice. And then gunnery implants and flux regulation just makes our ships more effective in combat. This is the fleet so far. Right now, it is a LP Brawler, a Monitor, the Apogee, which was the upgrade to the Shrike that we made before, and then the same Venture and Drover. The Apogee, or the Monitor at this point, is still missing extended shields or shield conversion front, so we're looking to shore that up. Here's the Apogee. I replaced the Merv that I think I detailed with a Squall. The Squall is really nice for just kinetic pressure. So two awesome upgrades for the Monitor. The first one is this officer we find, Ichel Batar. She's the second officer we add to our fleet. She comes with combat endurance and the reckless personality trait. This is fantastic for the Monitor. Normally you want to avoid reckless, but with the Monitor specifically, you want it to stick to its target like glue. And reckless is perfect for that. The Monitor is perfectly safe and has no reason to avoid its eliminate target. Next up, in Port Say, we get very lucky. We finally find extended shields. I've been waiting so long for this perk. The Monitor can finally be viable in combat now. So we go ahead and restore the Monitor, get rid of all those nasty D mods, and then make space for extended shields. Shield conversion front is still what we're chasing. It's going to be better overall. Um, Shield conversion front, one costs 1 OP less, and then two reduces the amount of flux that we spend on our shield, just making the Monitor just that much more viable. So here's a quick demonstration of the Monitor. What I use it for is either to lock down a capital or lock down a couple of ships, and also to screen for the rest of my fleet. So the Monitor is phenomenal, and this is the reason why I don't use very much PD on the rest of my ships. The Monitor is phenomenal for wasting enemies' missiles and also tying up their fighters. For those reasons, I find point defense pretty uh, unnecessary, basically on the rest of my ships, because my monitors are doing all my point defense screening for me. Um, so in turn, what this means is I can spend more ordnance points on capacity, on vents, on better weapons, things like that. I don't have to make compromises on the rest of my ships because the Monitor handles all my point defense for me. So I'm gonna mentor Batar, and I'm gonna fish for field modulation. I'm gonna eventually upgrade that to elite field modulation, just to make the Monitor even that more effective in combat. After refitting the Monitor, I head over to Epiphany and sell off some heavy machinery that I came across. We found another officer here, again with combat endurance, reckless personality trait. Um, this officer, we don't necessarily need to be reckless, so I'm going to go ahead and mentor them down to aggressive. So I assign them to a ship and then I mentor them. Um, reckless is really good when you want your ships to go after a target by any means necessary. But oftentimes, what'll happen is it'll cause your ships to get surrounded and unfortunately eliminated from combat very early on. So for that reason, reckless is best reserved for things like monitors and mm, I'd actually probably only the monitor now that I think about it. Anyway, a couple of pirates followed us to Epiphany. I'm not exactly sure why. Um, like balance of power wise, I think we outweighed them. So I'm not exactly sure why they thought they would engage us. But anyway, here you can see the monitor now with a wonderfully complete shield. It has no problem charging straight into the Manticore. Again, that reckless behavior, just making sure that it's always inches away from the Manticore and always has its attention. I'm piloting the Apogee here, and it almost feels like there's the video of the I think it's like a daycare worker or something, but he's playing um, not dodgeball. Uh, I'll link the video in a card, but he's basically like knocking the kids. It's like a pillow fight almost, and he's like just knocking these kids over. That's what it feels like in the Apogee going against all these like small frigates. Um, I don't have the proper skills and layout for the Apogee yet. Like I don't have, you know, field modulation. I don't have energy weapon mastery. But still, I mean, just a fun ship to pilot, and just does a ton of damage with those plasma cannons and antimatter blasters. We head to hyperspace, and I guess I didn't realize it at the time, but there was pirate activity over this area. So I run smack into another fleet. But again, it's no problem. Now that we have the monitor, we can take on much larger threats. The monitor is just so invaluable in tying up opponents' deployment points. Uh, it's just a great ship overall, honestly. And as far as the series go, it'll probably maintain a spot in the Fast Five from now until the end game. So going into this fight, I was definitely overconfident, and it opened up my flank to a large amount of harpoons coming from that strike. And then I also get overloaded here. Um, I probably should have dropped my shields just for a little bit, but I thought that the strike would fire again with its harpoons, and I really didn't want to risk it. As you see, I'm already down to half hull after that initial engagement. I'm flamed out for a while here, so there's not really much I can do. This mudskipper flies directly in front of me, which was really nice. I appreciated that. And we take the time once our engines come online to right ourselves, back away, dump our flux, and then we move back into the fight. This kite tries to interdict on behalf of the mule, but I mean, it's like swatting flies at this point. Um, Something that you'll see is that brawler is piloted by an aggressive officer. Fantastic. The AI really likes the brawler as well. Um, doesn't usually overextend itself and put itself in danger, and is just really aggressive, really nimble. Um, on the kill feed in the top left, you'll see a lot of ships being destroyed. It's usually attributed to the AI piloting the brawler. Anyway, we absolutely come in and smash these frigates. They don't really stand much of a chance. Yeah. And again, I didn't put my shields up for that kite, so we took a little front damage. Again, we're at the stage now where we can take on much harder fights, solely thanks to the monitor and its shield being complete now. So after clearing away everything, we go ahead and move in. And this Enforcer does put up a pretty good fight. Well, I mean, it doesn't put up a fight, but it is a resilient ship. I think we're past this stage now, but I think if I could do it again, I would probably secure a Enforcer, if not a Pirate Enforcer, for the early game. Anyway, that is the fight. Nothing interesting to recover here. We go ahead and pick through the wreckage. We have to do a little more shuffling. We leave behind some fuel, but overall, decent rewards. Batar gets a level after this fight, and we go ahead and level up, and waiting for us is field modulation. So we're going to take that and then we're immediately going to make it elite. What elite does is it essentially doubles down on the flux shunt ability of the monitor, just allowing you to dissipate even more um, hard flux while your shields are up. So a little later on, we get another skill point, and we go ahead and pick up automated ships. It's the reason that we're taking the blue line. It is a capstone ability, and it allows us to recover drone ships, so ships without pilots. These include the derelict ships, but more importantly, the remnant ships. Um, and then after that, we head over to the alpha site. This doesn't change the location, so that's really nice. But we are heading towards the cache site that is located northeast of the alpha site. Um, we use a couple of active sensor bursts to pin it down, and there it is. So the cache is protected by two fulgents. Um, Tough ships in their own right, but just given that we outnumber them and the power of our fleet, it's not really that difficult of a fight. We use the monitor to distract one of the fulgents and then go ahead and send everybody else after the other one. We use an engage order, of course, because these ships are powerful in their own right. So I don't want to use the eliminate order, and like as you see, the brawler over there on the left could easily move in too close to the fulgent and end up getting itself run over. So that's why we're using the engage command. I go to support the brawler, and while I'm moving in, I notice that the other fulgent gets destroyed off screen. That's from the sheer number of harpoons that the drover and the venture provide. Um, it is a lot. It's well over 50 harpoons from both of those ships. So really nice there. Very short fight. We recover one of the fulgents, and this is going to be a star on the team for a while. Great ship there. Like many remnant ships. Oh, well, before I get into that, here's the loot that we recover. So it's a disintegrator, two mini pulsars, and then a shock repeater. Um, Not much of a haul, but I mean, these weapons are powerful, so they will give us, even more of an edge in combat. But here's the Fulgent itself. So the Fulgent is an automated ship, which means it can't be piloted by a human. It can only be piloted, well, either unpiloted or piloted by a Gamma, Beta, or an Alpha core. Um, Great ship here, and then much like many other Remnant ships, it has the synergy armament, which allows you to put either missiles or energy weapons in that slot. So very powerful there. So we got a lot done this episode. We are currently level 6. These are the skills that we have. Automated ships was the biggest get this episode. We're going to work on securing red line perks for ourselves, and then also just a few industry perks. Um, Thankfully, because we have such a small fleet, we don't really have to worry about our economy so much. But, there are still considerations, like doubling our cargo capacity would be really nice. Here's the fleet so far. Adding the officer with elite field modulation and then also extended shields means that we finally have an acceptable monitor. Here's the Fulgent. We're going to look for an AI core to stick into that Fulgent, preferably an Alpha, but we'll take what we can get. And then we gave the apogee back to the officer that was piloting before. So Kemi is built to pilot this apogee. Helmsmanship, field modulation, ordnance expertise, elite weapon mastery, and combat endurance. All 5 of these skills fit so perfectly for the design for that apogee specifically. So that's a great build there. And then of course we have the venture rounding the fleet off, being the overall kind of freighter and combat vehicle. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Other than that, Grumpy out.